Hello, I'm Jean Atkin. I'm going to read you a poem that I wrote in Scotland a few years ago. It's from my book, How Time Is in Fields, and it's really about the place I used to live. It's called The Dog Days of DumfriesShire. 23rd July. A bee flies under thin weaves of grass, where she lies flat, 15. It disturbs the spiny seed heads and flies on. It seems so purposeful. Tall sky, duck egg blue, scud cloud, winds easing. 30th of July. She wishes to sleep dreamless by the garden pond, where the lives of frogs are full of luck. Instead, below the marigolds, she discovers a dim paradise of beetles. Long sky, arsenic green, with mottled cirrus, humid. 7th of August. Chicken shit and lichens dot dry concrete flags. Self-seeded into the cracks, the tender leaves of columbines. She paints her toenails carefully and pink above the dust. Bowl sky, Palnaki blue, cloudless. Hot. 19th of August. Lawn grass too long uncut is bent, bead-spangled. She watches a droplet quiver at a tractor burring up the brae. There's no reason to wait around. Cranefly sky, hammered silver, high altitude nimbus, no wind. 23rd of August. The baler's stuttered rap loses ground to the toe of a warm front spooling in from the Atlantic. She goes back to the wheel of a red kite, like a thought on a thermal before storms. Galvanized sky, loss grey, mare's tails, heavy rain. This poem is based on a secret initiation ceremony among the horsemen of the farms in 19th century Scotland. I used some of the words from the ritual into the poem. It's called The Horseman's Word. I do most solemnly take upon me the vows and secrets of horsemanship. That word I know, but do not tell, hearing just the gait of that worked-out Galloway, all hard mouth and spavined hocks. Catch up and halter the pattering unshod ponies, my word in their ears. I shall not cut it or carve it, paint it or print it, write it or engrave it. Curry their bellies' fringe of guard hair, grass-stained skewbald, strawberry roan, royal, misty, dandy, cherry, my Bobby Dazzler bonny filly. Here's to the lad who can always conceal and keep a thing hidden. Now the words go, like snow off a dike. Give me a good doer, without wind-galls or vice. Crupper that Clyde, and fettle his feather, and keep somewhere in the kist the fate of the foundered horse and the meaning of names, Breakheart Hill and Killhorse Lane. This poem is about the heraldic bird of Cornwall. It's just called Chough. I say King Arthur did not die, Pyrocarax, Pyrocarax, Firecrow, but was transformed into the Chough. His black flight slung on ozone, his salt wings fanned, his past a-breaking over rocks. I say he flew with a beak of stolen firebrands, Pyrocarax, Pyrocarax, Firecrow. A flame torn through this watered air, and my thatch tinder, the Chough an inkling, red spark in a char of reeds. O Firecrow on my sill, thieving a copper nail from me, the headland green, sea flat as a page. O dark bird, stealing glass beads from the blue, to press into a nest of roots and thrift all that glamour for an egg. He splits at edge of land the feathered wind, Pyrocarax, Pyrocarax, Firecrow, with farandole of fire-flashed beak and feet. In Cornish, Palores, the digger, driving Tintagel deep with that blood bill. Pyrocarax, Pyrocarax, king under the hill. This poem is called Woodman, and it's an encounter with a remarkable tree. Between anchor and new invention, we left the Christmas lights of the farms, climbed instead a slippery stile marked danger, slipped into a narrow valley full of falling water, and took a faint path weft to the birch tree's warp, felt underfoot loose earth unbound by ash and brook, found waiting round a corner, furred and green, knuckle-fingered and splay-legged, reared up and rooted, chapel lonely, a sightless wadwoe, somewhere on the border. This is a poem about a walk in Shropshire. It's called Near Todleth, and it's especially about, I guess, the month of April. Near Todleth. In a field of docks, rain falls on us. Here are white hanks of sheep's wool, pegged like washing between drying posts. We breathe in lanolin and damp. By clouded reeds, a tatty ewe, her off-fore lame, lurches away with her twins, her bag all lumpy with mastitis. You said it wouldn't last. We follow an orange-tipped butterfly over a stile. This is Nettle Lexicon. 1. Nettle of the edgelands. So, the nettle dare. Will you grip that hairy leaf? Stand still and rigid for this ordeal, while they wait in a circle and watch your face. 2. Nettle of the dens. Sharp flare of wheels rising white on your skin, a dapple of pain you soothe to a green smear of dockens. Scrub leaf. In dock. Out nettle. 3. Nettle of the beds. Older, gloved and kneeling, you hang and draw the soil for them, their creamy guts, the hoary coil and pack of them snapping, whipping back to test you. 4. Nettle of the gone. Oh, how those nettles do grow behind us, markers of our wiped out villages, abandoned farms. How rife they are in the lost places.
Hi there, my name is Ross Donlon. I'm an Australian poet reading to you from Castlemaine in Victoria, Australia. And big thanks to Chris, of course, for inviting me to be part of the reading for Big Lit, which hasn't happened in person yet, but I hope will. And so I'll read you some poems from 2 of my books. I realise that very few, if any of you, know me. So the first one I'm going to read is called Bio. Ross Donlon was born. He is a man, a son, nephew, cousin, and father. He is a reader, writer, and reality wrestler. He has degrees in dreaming, first-class honours in fantasy, postgraduate work in wondering. His master's research into why has recently been expanded and upgraded into a PhD incorporating why not. He has been highly commended for not entering poetry competitions, both national and those of small country towns. He has been forcibly rejected by some of the finest literary magazines in the country, including Northerly, Southerly, Easterly, Westerly, and Meanjin. His published works include, after which he self-published This latter was praised by Carol Ann Duffy for its minimalism and use of space. He reads his work and is currently engaged in the major project of being published in Northerly, Southerly, Easterly, Westerly, and Meanjin. I was writing a very bleak poem on one occasion called Separation, my attempt at a Shakespearean sonnet. And the whole time I was writing that, the washing machine was going in the corner of the flat. And I found myself writing Separation and having some fun with In Praise of Washing. I'll spare you separation. This is in praise of washing. I like the sound of a machine washing, the pulse and hum, the sloshing slosh, the butterfly murmur of something being done, the clack of a completed cycle. I like the fairground thrill of clothes spinning, the vicarious excitement of domestic life, possibly out of control, a blowhole in the sink, the Titanic in the hallway. I like the taking out and untangling of wet clothes, the soaking puzzle, the thankful flap of a shirt or singlet rescued from drowning. I like the shaking, hanging, and pegging out of garments, joining others who bow their heads, then stand with arms upraised to hail the line, with clothes, flags, prayers, or words, a day's offering to the wind and sun. In 2007, I had an acrostic poem. I had a TURP, a tertiary urethral resection of the prostate. And while I was taking 2 weeks to get better instead of the 2 days, I thought I've got to get something out of this apart from better. So I have a poem called 8 Reasons to Have a TURP. It was 10, but I've, for your benefit, I've reduced it to 8. 8 reasons to have a TURP. 1. To improve your spelling. You can improve your own spelling and help others by clearly distinguishing between the often confused words prostate and prostrate. The reply, no, I'm actually having a transurethral resection of the prostate. I will be prostrate later by the pool. That clarifies the difference. 2. To increase your general knowledge and vocabulary. This development will come about as a result of exposure to new medical terms, such as catheter, void, catheter, double void, catheter, bladder spasm, and catheter. 3. To revitalise your expression, especially in the invention of curses, such as the Western unequivocal, may you be transfixed by 1,000 catheters, to the Eastern, more metaphysical, may you never void. To think about that one. 4. To reduce anxiety in women, a simple badge worn on the lapel depicting a smiling prostate inside a red circle bisected by a red diagonal line communicates a clear message. 5. To provide an insight into sadomasochism. The procedure of prostate removal provides a chance to experience an S&M dungeon while in the safety of the hospital. Attention is on the penis, and there are procedures administered by women dressed up as nurses. The experience for most men is painful, probably humiliating, but some could find it otherwise. 6. To find consolation in philosophy. One morning, you awake to discover an erection, but find it accompanied by a catheter. The experience is complex. You want to show and tell, but this is not a matter for visitors, nor the nurse's bell. You would like the erection to remain, but realise that for now it is of no practical use to anybody. Sensations are confused and provide a lively interior dialogue on the relation of pleasure to pain, the rational to the sensual, the mind to the body, the id to the ego, themes often explored in philosophical discourse from Plato to Nietzsche. 7. To alter the self. The older self is left behind on a kind of psychic coat hanger at the nurse's station, to be collected when you are discharged. For the duration of your stay in the ward, you are transformed into your new self. Dal. In Australia it's Dal, short for darling. I think in the UK probably love. Even Dals. It is nice in an odd way, and the spontaneous affection sometimes makes you want to stay in hospital. Number 8, to reduce weight. The degree of weight loss depends on the size of the formerly enlarged prostate. I'm lucky enough to have a couple of books in the pipeline. I'll be out in 2021. And one of them is called The Bread Horse. So I thought I'd read you The Bread Horse. There's a quote from the Bible, from Job 39:20. The glory of his nostrils is terrible. The bread cart is parked outside a glebe delicatessen owned by the Nackins, who I will never see again. My grandmother works for them this one day. and I must play on the sawdust floor under their red faces, white aprons, and curtains of sausages. Heat from the bread cart and horse droppings make sweet street perfume. Tram lines shimmer between weaving cars and lorries, and the footpath will be my first stage performance, since I must perform the feeding trick with an apple, fingers straight as instructed, unless you want to lose them, lifted to the horse's nostrils, orange teeth, clanking metal mouth, and a head as big as me. I have a presentiment of apocalypse, but his whiskery lips clean up both core and chunks, and his leather tongue soothes my fingers. I hear the jingle of harness as a signal to look, the twitching ears, a chestnut fringe cut straight, splash of milk on a forehead, our reflections in each other's eyes. Then his hooves wake, shuffle, clop away, reins snapping his back as the wheels clatter. The memory hovers like kindness, like the comfort of hot bread, years after traffic covers his tracks. It's a poem for my granddaughter. My daughter Astrid said to me, would you like to see a picture of your new granddaughter? And it was a scan of her while Astrid was pregnant of Rose at 7 weeks, 6 days. And I can hear that I don't know how much you're getting, but the children, I have 3 little children, little girls who play next door, and they've decided to come out and play near the fence. So you're getting a bit of background there, as well as the cuckoo clock that just decided to go off. So a bit of natural sound effects. This is Rose for my granddaughter. Totally gorgeous little girl, now 7. Codes and letters line the scan of you at 7 weeks, 6 days. Darker than a nightclub, a semi-sweep of light swings across your mother's womb, flickers on tucked-up head and toes. Belly an equator, poles revolving and turning on your own axis. A girl Gulliver, floating gravity-free on a 9-month odyssey. You orbit in time with a lifeline secured to the universe. No wonder you seem to smile from this one-person planet. In a dark, wild world, pulsing with blood, you're held, cradled in a half-circle, joined like hands, like a rose opening. I've sent Chris some still photographs of the place where I swim just about every day, and you find me a bit pleased with myself because I've swum all the way through the year. I've swum all through winter in Australia, which can be quite cold. The res gets to about 8 degrees was the coldest, and the days since can certainly get down towards freezing. So this is Reservoir, a place where something is kept in store. Morning, clear as crystal, sun motes fill the reservoir, rising like champagne. I park, cross to where reeds hide the road, undress and stretch to a star shape. Leonardo's Renaissance man twinkles fingers and toes before the rising sun of high middle age. The skin I enter is blue, black, brown or gold, and cool as silk, a wave of air combed by mist as I start to swim, penis a tiny rudder, body propelled by a no-name action, but enough to reach the centre. I cruise a tightrope of water, more or less at ease above the cleft of flooded creek, dissolving now and then into the sky's mirror. And inside, close and alert, what discoveries in being an animal again. Once dragonflies buzzed close enough to see their goggles, moustaches and flying scarves. And when a night wind bullied the town, an archipelago of fairy islands shivered in next morning's breeze, worlds of duck down whisked from border reeds. They disappeared in a touch. I count each stroke and joke, it's my reservoir rosary. I am better the more I do. Still, I take time occasionally to check my wake, and always find, not surprisingly, my ripples only extend so far. The way I've come already invisible, even when I've tried to splash. So it's been a pleasure to speak to you and read to you kind of anonymously, and who knows what's going to happen with COVID-19, but it would be great to be in Scotland at Big Lit. I'd love to be there next year, I hope. So take care, all of you. This is Death in Rome. I was in Rome, as the children cry next door. I was in Rome and I was becoming ill, even though I didn't realise it, and I was being scammed, or people were trying to scam me left, right and centre. It just wasn't Rome's fault, it was just the way it happened this time. I love Italy. And then I saw Death. So you've all heard of Death in Venice, no doubt, the Thomas Mann story and the film with Dirk Bogarde. But this is Death in Rome. I saw Death in a square in Rome, quite near the Vatican, in fact. It was too hot for Death, nearly 40 degrees Celsius, and the plaza swarming with passers-by, moving bee-like stall to stall, stopping to dip into a pocket purse, then gelato, surrounded by the scammers, scammed, and the damned. Poor Death, in her black hoodie, black jeans, and leather boots with the silver straps attached. White makeup, glistening buds of sweat, half-moon eyeshadow below two black suns. She was more like Death warmed up than Death. Death needed the coffin she climbed on to get her head above the ignorant crowd, legs braced as though trying to stay afloat, leaning a bony arm on her scythe, the black tape fluttering from its blade. Death had a black cape spread before her, but I was too far away, I was avoiding Death, to see whether tribute was forthcoming. Customers seemed distracted by being alive. Still, she was patient, looking blankly into the future, sitting down now and then to smoke on the coffin, elbows on knees, shoulders hunched. Death saw me during one of these smokos. I was cruising on the edge of the cosmos, pretending invisibility, even invincibility, but up looked Death and stared straight at me with a smile of recognition. Death might be like this, I thought, a sudden sense of looking into life's last black hole, outer space becoming inner space without the Star Trek, then the familiarity of going home. I nearly spoke to Death then, but being shy by nature, superstitious, anxious, and not having Latin or Italian, and wondering anyway how an ordinary man can help Death, I hurried to St. Peter's for some beads I had to buy, some ceilings I had to see, some pomp and pain I had to witness before I died.